Trump, Russland und die Ukraine bringen Frieden durch Gebietswechsel.
Related, just because you mentioned the elusive peace in Ukraine.
Right.
Who is holding up this Ukraine ceasefire summit? Is it Putin or is it Zelensky?
Well, I think it's that one is, as you know, we've been working on a lot of these deals. We've closed every single one of them all throughout the world, and that's the last of them. And they're losing, Peter, about 6, maybe even 7,000 soldiers every single week. Russia, as you know, lost almost 25,000 over the last month and a half, and Ukraine lost just a small number, fewer. It's a lot of people are dying, and I think we're getting very close. And we're going to be announcing later on. We're going to have a meeting with Russia. We'll start off with Russia, and we'll announce a location. I think the location will be a very popular one for a lot of reasons. But we'll be announcing that a little bit later. I just don't want to do it now because of the importance of what we just did. They're losing, Peter, about 6, maybe even 7,000 soldiers every single week. Russia, as you know, lost almost 25,000 over the last month and a half, and Ukraine lost just a small number, fewer. It's a lot of people are dying, and I think we're getting very close. And we're going to be announcing later on. We're going to have a meeting with Russia. We'll start off with Russia, and we'll announce a location. I think the location will be a very popular one for a lot of reasons. But we'll be announcing that a little bit later. I just don't want to do it now because of the importance of what we just did.
And I completely understand.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Hasn't figured out by now, in years of war, how to deal with you and to deal with Putin without needing permission to make concessions from his parliament or from a national referendum.
Well, he's going out and getting what he needs. You know, he's not authorized to do certain things. I said, well, you're going to have to get it fast because, you know, we're getting very close to a deal. And he's doing that, and he's working with the European nations, and they're terrific people, terrific leaders, NATO. And as you know, I became very friendly with them. They agreed to go from 2% to 5%. 2% that they didn't pay to 5% that they've already paid. It's trillions of dollars. So, you know, we're working together very closely. But no, in all fairness to President Zelensky, he's getting everything he needs to assuming we get something done. But
Mr. President, with this meeting with Putin, is this Russia's last chance to achieve peace? And do you expect Ukraine to make any type of territorial concession?
Yeah, I don't like using the term last chance. Look, it's, you know, look, this is two very, very smart people. They've been going at it and their predecessors also very smart. They've been going at it for 35 years. It's tough. And, you know, when those guns start going off, it's awfully tough to get them to stop. It really does. It's a war that should have never happened. It would have never happened if I were president. There was no reason for it. So many people are killed, so much cultural destruction. You look at those magnificent towers, the most beautiful in the world. You know, the spires were considered the most beautiful in the world. They're all in a million pieces, laying on the ground, all obliterated, knocked into a million pieces. So sad. But millions of people have died. And very, very much set in their ways. A lot of people were set in their ways, but I think we're getting close. The European Union has been great. As you know, they're purchasing equipment from us. They have a lot of money, and they're spending a lot of money on buying equipment. We're not spending money, but we are supplying them equipment. They're paying for it. And I think, you know, I think that a lot of things happened recently that would make this go forward. I'm not going to mention anything having to do with India, but maybe that had an impact. But what really had an impact was NATO has stepped up in terms of their spending on buying military equipment. You know, we're in for probably through Biden and his people, $350 billion. $350 billion. When they hear these numbers, you're saying that's a lot of money. $350 billion the United States has spent on that. It should have spent nothing because it should have never happened. It would have never happened. And Europe is in for over $100 billion, which is, it should be the opposite if we were in for anything, but it should be the opposite. And I will say that Europe wants to see peace. The European leaders want to see peace. President Putin, I believe, wants to see peace, and Zelensky wants to see peace. Now, President Zelensky has to get all of his everything he needs, because he's going to have to get ready to sign something. Well, you're looking at territory that's been fought over for 3.5 years with, a lot of Russians have died, a lot of Ukrainians have died. So we're looking at that, but we're actually looking to get some back and some swapping. It's complicated. It's actually nothing easy. It's very complicated, but we're going to get some back. We're going to get some switched. There'll be some swapping of territories to the betterment of both. And but we'll be talking about that either later or tomorrow or whatever.
I'm going to ask you, have you spoken to Russian President Putin yet? And would you go to Russia or Ukraine? And what exactly would you say to him?
We'll be announcing a location in maybe a little while, and I think you'll be very happy. We'll see what happens, right? All we can do is do our best. We've been working on this one for a long time. This is a very complicated one also. This was extremely complicated, but we made it less complicated, and we had two very brilliant people on my right and my left. They understood what was at stake. I think if it didn't get done now, it might have never gotten done. So this is the same, very similar with Ukraine. It became more and more complicated as time went on. It was simple at the beginning. It wasn't going to happen. But it became more and more complicated. But I think we're getting close. Yes, ma'am. Yes, go ahead, please.
Could the location for the summit be Italy?
Location, Italy.
I will give it to you very soon. Honestly, I don't want to do anything. These guys, I don't want to do anything where that's like, because this is a bigger story than a location. A location's good. I'm a real estate person. I know about location, but there's nothing to compete with this in terms of what we're doing today. It's just such a great achievement for these two. Really, they'll go down as great leaders for what they did. I put them together, but what they have been able, and I don't want to do anything. So we'll talk about it later. Today, we'll give you a location today.
Cartels too. You were talking about sending military forces to fight against the drug cartels in Latin America. Do you think it's worth sending our forces, our U.S. forces there to take this on?
Cartels where?
Central Latin America.
Well, Latin America's got a lot of cartels. They've got a lot of drugs flowing. So, we want to protect our country. We have to protect our country. We haven't been doing it for 4 years. And we love this country like they love their countries. We have to protect our country. So, we're playing a tough game, but we'll have more to say about that soon. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. President, I'm Musala from Azerbaijan News Agency Report. So we are grateful to be here. Today you host a truly historic meeting. As a person who values diplomacy and global interaction, do you consider the possibility to visiting Azerbaijan? Actually, you mentioned Azerbaijan and Armenia after this meeting.
Well,
To visit our countries, do you consider to visit? Wow.
which one do I consider better?
Yes.
Oh, I think if I ever said that you would say this guy couldn't have solved the problem.